In this unit, we're going to look at classroom climate. So what exactly is classroom climate? The one common thread throughout this course is that your classroom is complex and multi-layered, and you and your learners operate in many different environments. There is the intellectual environment, and this refers to your teaching and the lessons that the learners are taking in. Are you pushing learners? Are you developing skills? Do you give prompt and specific feedback after doing an activity? Are tasks challenging? Are they important? Next is the emotional environment, and this refers to how learners feel in your classroom. Are they nervous of making mistakes because they're going to be criticized or scolded? Or is there an open and non-competitive atmosphere where learners feel they can try new things and to fail is not a problem? It's seen as a learning curve, something to develop and work on. Next is the social environment, and this is twofold. It looks at how the learners in your class interact. Do you have a no bullying policy and encourage kind relationships and promote positive peer relationships in your classroom? And do you yourself try connect with your learners? Lastly, we look at the physical environment, and this we have touched on quite a lot in the first module with the actual physical layout of your classroom. But do all learners have access to materials in the classroom? Are learners free from distractions, or is it quite off-putting when they're in the classroom because there's so much going on, or it's very noisy outside and it's rather distracting from the learning process? Now, all these environments come together to create the mood of the classroom and the attitude, the standard and tone. Basically, how learners feel when they are in your classroom. Before we begin to look at what makes a productive climate, let's look at the difference between weather and climate. And I'm going to use this analogy to help explain classroom climate a little bit further. So weather is different each day, and some days are rainy and some days are sunny. So each day is different from the next. While climate does not change from day to day. Instead, the climate is the average weather over a period of time. So the climate in your classroom is a general feel or mood of your classroom that is created over a period of time. You'll have some days where perhaps nothing goes right and you feel like you had poor lesson planning and you had little patience for the learners. And then other days you might feel like you are winning and everything went well, you extended learners, you managed to catch up learners who were struggling. But every day is different. And hopefully there are more good days than there are bad. The good news is that classroom climate doesn't just happen, it is created. So what makes up a good classroom climate? Regardless of your learners' past experiences, there are many things that you can do deliberately to shape the climate in your classroom and to create a positive learning environment. There are 3 essential elements that you have influence over. The first is making learners feel safe and secure in your classroom. And you do this through providing consistent and predictable routines and boundaries. Having classroom rules helps to create a predictable, safe environment for your learners. Rules give students clear boundaries and opportunities to practice self-regulation and make good choices. When students feel safe and respected, both emotionally and physically, they are able to focus better on learning. Next is respect, and this is ensuring that learners interact with one another in a positive and meaningful way. So what you as a teacher can do in your classroom to foster these positive peer relationships. And lastly is nurturing. And here we look at how you develop a rapport or a relationship with your learners, because you need to show them that you care about them, that you're emotionally invested in their future and how they are feeling, their well-being. And all 3 of these elements, when they come together perfectly, creates a warm, safe and encouraging classroom climate.